So I start my ADHD meds tomorrow morning, and I feel so much relief at being able to do that. I know ADHD is more common these days. I don't think it's a case of it being overdiagnosed. I just think you finally have a cohort of adults that are learning emotional intelligence and self-advocacy and realize they've been masking their whole lives. And so on one hand, I don't want to be like, hey, legally controlled meth is the answer to my problems, but at the same time, I'm kind of hoping that it is. And what I feel relief about is that I have a lot of struggles in life. I mean, we all do, but mine in and of itself, when I'm putting it into the context of the fact that my brain literally has a disability on executive function, and I was able to convince, I don't want to say convince, but two of the doctors believed me and said, you need this tool in order to continue functioning as an adult. It's a miracle I've lasted this long. And so I'm excited to have something that might actually help. I'm just so relieved. So I took my first dose at 6:30, and I usually start work from home at 8, but I had to start a little bit early this morning. And when it came time for that, usually I'm running right up against the clock and rushing to switch computers and log in, and that was not the case today. I was like, oh, it's time to work. My tasks at work are fairly repetitive, but they still require a lot of context. I have to know the context of every single time I do this task. And so that often means I have to send an email and then file it. And I often forget who it is I just sent it to. The second I click send. And I've been forgetting it a lot less often. And if I have to recover who it is I sent it to, it's way easier for me to find it and figure it out. Not my period is due either today or tomorrow. No emotional dysregulation. Usually I'm an emotional train wreck. Nothing. Not a thing. Totally fine. When it came time to lunch, I still had appetite, but my appetite is just smaller. It's less intense. And I think that's just because my metabolism is super high because again, I'm about to crimson tide. However, the moment I was done eating, I was nauseous. Very, very low grade though, 1 out of 10. And my lunch break, I usually, when I'm working from home, I prefer to do chores. And this time I wanted to sit and take a break and eat. And just take a few minutes to myself. Usually I jump up and start doing chores and that kind of thing. Not today. I wanted a break. So it is the end of my first day on Adderall, and I clocked out exactly at 4, right as I hit inbox 0. I got all of my tasks done for the day, on top of dealing with stuff with one of my coworkers, not getting things done. And no panic, no anxiety about certain things I had to do, things that I would usually have to try 2 or 3 times to start. Nope, just did it. And I have a couple chores I need to get done, and I'm about to do those in a minute. The most important thing is that I feel so ready to write in a way that I haven't written in a long time. I've been writing, just can't really focus or finish a piece, and now I'm I know what I can sit down and write right now, which is amazing. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is whether or not I'm actually going to be able to get to sleep in 3-ish hours like I'm supposed to. But we'll see. Okay, so today I have to go to my other job in Los Feliz. And don't laugh at my glasses. They're men's friends, and I didn't realize how big they were on my face. So I got them in COVID with 3 masks on. Anyway, so today's been a little bit more interesting. Because I have some structure, things I have to get done, but it's looser. So I just kind of absorbed where my brain went this morning, and I could definitely still feel a lot of the attention deficit trying to go, but I was still able to get myself on track. I did leave an hour later than I usually would have, but I wasn't panicking and rushing out the door, and I still got everything done, and I know I'm gonna get my stuff done today. Oh my god, my glasses. Had an interesting moment at the coffee shop when I don't like going to, but kind of had to for timing, and just trying to process speech is interesting because I'm used to it always being a struggle, and it still kind of is, but it's not fuzzy. Overall, I'm experiencing more physical side effects. Appetite and nausea are a little bit more pronounced, but I think that's also partly because of premenstrual and menstrual hormones. It's just waiting right now. So I'm not gonna worry about that until later. Mostly I'm just really noticing my emotional regulation. I'm still emotionally reacting, just way better to handle it. And it feels like this is what meditating should feel like. I can just notice an emotion, experience it, deal with it, and let it go. And a lot of ADHDers can't meditate. Like, is that what this feels like?
So I learned the hard way, when you're taking a stimulant for the first time, don't have a cold brew coffee and a protein bar for lunch. I'll just leave it at that. There's a reason I was feeling nauseous. I just went to Target for the first time since I started taking it, and okay, so I genuinely did have to get a couple of things, and that was the goal. It's like, I'm gonna go to Target and get the things I need to get, and then I'm gonna see what else I feel like buying, because that's, nobody ever just goes to Target for one thing, right? And the impulses were really weird. Like, I almost felt like an appliance that I've never had, I didn't really need, and then I was like, why am I buying this? And I put it right back. Going into departments I don't usually go into, but like, there was no like need to get anything. I just kind of browsed, like, did I need anything? The answer was no. But my appetite and hunger are completely at odds. So at the moment, I'm physically very hungry. It's dinner time for me. But nothing seems appetizing. Not nauseating, just not appetizing. I don't really know what I want to eat when I usually do. When I was in the grocery section at Target, I ended up buying things that sounded really great, but I just didn't want right now, which is not like me. I don't buy stuff for like down the road. Maybe like pantry staples, like rice and beans. But I bought things, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds great, later. It's not like me. The idea of eating what I got, it was just like, no, thank you. But so when I notice if I do have an appetite for something, like, oh, a specific food sounds good, I'm not physically hungry. So, and when I was in the grocery section, the packaging was very overwhelming. Like, the whole thing just was like, I don't want any of this. But it wasn't like nauseating. All right, so it's day 3, and today is Sunday. Sundays are very unstructured for me. They are very much my days off. If I decide I want to get busy and go around and do errands or go see the city, I go do that. Most of the time, I just kind of chill and relax, just kind of do whatever. So today we're just doing that, just kind of going where I feel with it. And I, even after taking my meds and having breakfast and stuff this morning, I noticed getting a little impulsive, did a little bit of online shopping, got a little rambly talking to someone, but I'm realizing it's just focus and not hyper focus. And so once I realize it's happening, I'm able to pull myself away and stop it. And there's no anxiety and there's no time blindness. I'm not getting lost in these tasks. Doing task A, I need to go do task C, but then when I go to do task C, I'm like, oh, I should do B. But if I decide and stop to do B because A is done, I still do task C. I still get it done, even if I interrupt myself. So I'm not like, I'm still completing a task before getting to the next one. If I reprioritize, I still get everything else to be done. So I am now like I'm like 80% done with a project, first phase of a project that I'm waiting on furniture for phase 2 later this week. And I did not expect to be done with it by now. I thought this was going to be an all-day thing, and I'm about to be done in probably like an hour. And then it'll be done. And it's a lot of stuff. So it's 8:30, and I am definitely getting ready to go to bed. I finished like all of my projects and chores that I wanted to get done this afternoon, and it felt like good because it was like self-care, and I felt like really productive, and I didn't feel like I'm not getting anything done. I didn't feel like I left anything undone. I have other stuff saved for the rest of the week when I have other things to do. And so when I did that, I tried to just focus on things I wanted to get done, like some creative projects and stuff. And then I finally started having a hard time, not really focusing, but like choosing what I wanted to do. Once I finally figured out what I wanted to spend my energy on, I could do it and followed through, but choosing it, that was a little hard. I was kind of like in a weird spot for a bit. But it's also could be because of hormones, because my period finally started today. And while I'm not exhausted, my body is physically fatigued, because that is always what day 1 is like for me. So, interesting afternoon. So yeah, it's Monday morning, as you can hear, and I'm about to walk into the office. First few days are officially over, and honestly, mostly
what I'm experiencing is like very few mild physical side effects overall, considering my other hormonal issues. But just the fact of being able to focus and the emotional relief, I'm still feeling emotion, just being able to regulate, manage them, and deal with them appropriately. For the first time in my whole life, it's really something else. I don't feel like the transmission in my head is slipping gears all the time anymore. So, yeah.